This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Keller's Garden Center and Landscaping Services located on Kern Street in Exeter, Pennsylvania. Springtime is here, and that means it is time to start thinking about getting your yard looking its best. Do you really want to be in your yard all weekend digging things up and planting something new? Wouldn't you rather spend time with your family by the pool or doing fun things with the kids this summer instead of cutting the grass? Let the professionals at Keller's handle the hard stuff. They are family-owned and operated and looking forward to assisting you. Visit them on their social media page for more information. Keller's Garden Center and Landscaping Services. Get your free estimate today. Welcome to the Popko Project podcast, a platform for the discussion and discovery of arts and entertainment. We focus on highlighting people and events that add value to the world around us. Visit us on all social media platforms by searching the Popko Project or visit our website at thepopkoproject.com. Welcome to the show, and thank you so much for listening. And we're live from someone's bedroom. Who do we have in the bedroom?
I think we're both in a bedroom.
You're both in a bedroom. You're right. But like, we got one of you are actually in a bed.
I'm literally in a bed.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Modern technology.
Yeah.
Is that Josh? Josh is in the bed?
Oh, I'm Josh. Sorry.
Josh, and Jeff, right?
Yep, Jeff.
Josh and Jeff from the band Paris Monster, who will be gracing northeastern Pennsylvania with their presence at the River Street Jazz Cafe on April 8th. The Jazz Cafe is in Plains, Pennsylvania. And I got hooked up with you guys from Ben Travers, who is the owner and operator of Astrology Days recording studio. And I guess, does he do bookings at the Jazz Cafe, I guess, as well? That's how he kind of got you guys involved.
That's how we, yeah.
I should know that. He was on the podcast once too. But he's like doing so many things I can't keep track anymore. But he
definitely does a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Shout out to Ben for setting this up. And when he said he's got this band coming, I expected a full band when I went to the Spotify and started listening to some of your music. And I was surprised that it's only two of you. And the Jeff, or Josh rather, I believe, are you the one who does the drums, the keyboard, the vocals? Almost a one-man show almost.
Yeah.
But obviously Jeff's involved too. So I mean, like, I think it was the song A Vision Complete was the first song I was introduced to. A fantastic song. I don't know how you do it.
Well, that one, I mean, it's not, I don't know. We just started it one day, but that song is not necessarily that difficult. I mean, it's kind of like clavinet or something, you know. It's Well, I guess probably the singing is the hardest part, because singing is hard regardless.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is I could probably have a hard time patting my head and my belly, and you are playing the drums, doing the keyboard and singing at the same time. It's wild.
It's wild. Yeah, man. It's wild for me. I mean, but
I'm trying to get him to add a bowl of soup to the mix. Like, do all that and also eat soup.
Yeah.
Just to keep it.
I don't know, man. I never thought of myself as a person that was, Yeah.
I mean, I was blown away. So, I mean, the people at the Jazz Cafe and any of your shows for that matter, I mean, they're in for a real treat. I mean, it's an entertaining thing. And it's good too. It's like nothing really suffers. Like the drums are good, the keyboard, the vocals, and then you have Jeff with the bass. Like, how did this all come together?
You know, we've been friends and we played music together in different projects for years, but you know, we were looking to start something new, and you know, usually the story I tell is that we had this gig at a festival in southern Jersey, and we decided to do it duo, and we were late to the gig, but we had put together like a short set of music, and we showed up and we like had to go right to the stage and like didn't have any time to think about anything. And we just had this amazing experience playing duo, and, the crowd loved it. And I remember feeling like as good as I felt with any band, and it was kind of an eye-opening experience where we were like, wow, maybe we should look into this, and Jeff had just started experimenting with his bass, and he was playing the bass with different pedals and stuff. And he was telling me about this thing called a modular synth, which is like the synthesizer that he plays that is a big part of the sound of the band. We didn't have it yet, but he was telling us it's kind of like a funk box or something that spits rhythms out at us, and so I don't know, it was kind of all just born right there, and we've just been going at it since then.
You make it sound so easy. Like I literally would have a hard time patting my head and rubbing my stomach, and you're doing all these things at the same time. Yeah. And you started in what was it, 2012?
That seems about right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somewhere there. That gig might have been a year or so after that. But we started experimenting with this idea about 10 years ago. And it was a lot of rehearsal time went into it, and a lot of trying every pedal and every keyboard and every idea and stripping it away until it was actually a lot of as crazy as it might seem, because we have a lot of gear, like there's a lot of synthesizers behind me that'll be on stage, but it was a lot of using everything and whittling it down till it became a focused set of equipment to serve a musical purpose,
Right. Now,
so it really did become less is more to get to what the sound of the band is.
Now, do you guys see what you do as a challenge that you love, and you do it the way you do it because that's what it is, and you'd rather not involve other guys? Or, I mean, how does that, like, it can't be easy, right?
Well, no, I mean, it is easy. That's why you have a band, it's Jeff puts on the machine, I play drums and synth bass, and he plays whatever he wants. That's all it is. It's not, and it should be something that you can just, get up and do it. I mean, it can't be that hard if you're going to get up. Think about like all these stages we get up on. You have like 10 minutes to get something together half the time. You know what I mean? You like plug in your shit and you're just like, all right, do it. Oh, I can't hear my voice. Doesn't matter. Just do it. You know what I mean? It's like, I understand why. I mean, obviously there's stuff that you need to work out, and there are limitations to what we do in terms of soloing and stuff like that sometimes. Whereas if you have a band with a bunch of other players, you can just kind of rely on jamming.
Yeah, point to the next guy and
here, you take one, With a duo, and I'm sure other duos run into this too, regardless of their instrumentation. Like you really have to like find a way to kind of form something together, because I don't know, there's only two people and there's only so much space sonically, so it's like it can kind of get boring sometimes. That's why we like to write songs and just have it be like that's what we're playing, you know what I mean? But sometimes we stretch out and it can become like funky, and we can jam out and get psychedelic. I mean, anything can happen. But yeah, I mean, I guess that if you were to look at what we're doing, it looks crazy. It looks like a mad scientist. Jeff looks like a mad scientist, and I look like an octopus or something. Everyone always says, and it's like, I totally understand that. And it's fun. I mean, it's fun. It's fun for me to do that. I mean, it's a tremendous amount of power to be like, you have a drum set going through a sound system, and you're singing, and you're not only doing that, but you're like in command of the bass line. I mean, that's so much music, that you're responsible for. And it's all, the bass pumping through the system. I mean, it feels amazing.
Yeah, as far as like, other, like making it a trio or a quartet, because obviously we could hand off Josh's keyboard duties to a keyboardist, and, a guitarist could kind of take some of the work I'm doing on like when I'm doing pitch shifted bass stuff. Guitars could do that, but I think it's the kind of the limitations that we run into and the problems that we run into trying to do it this way. We have to come up with creative solutions, and that results in the sound. So if we had other people do that, it would sound different and probably not as special. It would at least sound closer to a lot of other bands by doing it in a traditional way.
Right.
You know.
And you mentioned writing.
At the end of the day, I'm sorry. Go ahead, John.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, at the end of the day, you form a band and you just, that's what it is. I mean, but we have guests sometimes, usually so far we've had mostly singers as guests. But.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as far as you mentioned songwriting, what does that process look like for you guys? Just being just the two of you.
We send stuff back and forth. I mean, it's usually me writing the music and Jeff writing the lyrics, but it can happen any way, and especially now, we can like get tracks totally started, and because we both have studios, and here's a cool beat, stuff like that.
And you're based out of Brooklyn?
We're both still in the New York area, but yeah.
So you're not very close in proximity, is what you're saying.
Right now, we're not.
Right now, yeah, we're both outside of the city, but
yeah.
So technology is your friend.
What's that?
Yeah.
The technology is your friend.
Exactly.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
I think it's become everyone's friend, especially with the last 2 years of this pandemic.
For sure.
Yeah. I hate talking about it. I really do. But I feel like it's been such a big part of our lives the last 2 years. I feel if I don't touch on it, it's like, we're forgetting about 2 years of our lives.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
And how did you guys fare, being in or near the city, and how were your lives affected by that?
Well, yeah, I mean, I got my fiance and I were kind of lucky in that we had just moved out of Brooklyn. So we had some more space, and we could kind of be outdoors and not totally cooped up in a tiny Brooklyn apartment like we'd been living in. Josh was right in the city through it all, right? Pretty much.
Yeah, we moved out. We got a house somewhere about 6 months into the pandemic, because it was just like we were hurting in Brooklyn. But for numerous reasons.
Obviously, like every other band, halted us in terms of touring and recording for a while. We kind of got back to the recording sooner than the playing, and then had to adjust and figure out, okay, we got to figure out this streaming thing, because it seems like that's what we're doing for a while. Yeah. Had some great shows, great experiences doing that, for sure. But now we're excited to get back on the road for sure.
Have you played any shows yet since the pandemic has somewhat subsided?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. For a while it was obviously a bunch of outdoor stuff.
Right.
But we're back to it now. Yeah.
Now, did you guys everyone has their own feeling about, entering back into the world and performing music or being in a indoor club. Like, did you have any hesitations to kind of get back out there, or were you guys just like really Jones and you didn't care and you're like, this is what we do, we love this, and we're going to play no matter what?
I mean, I wanted to get back as soon as we could, but at first we were playing shows and it was like, you could only have 50 people, even if the place was like pretty big. So that was weird. I wanted us to play. I mean, wearing a mask while you play, that's pretty tough. I mean, that was a tough thing to get into. Or in general, that whole thing, being around. I mean, there was one show where what was that, Jeff? I tested positive, but I wasn't positive. It was like a false positive, like the next day. Mm-hmm. And I had to tell everybody.
Oh, right.
Like,
yeah.
Oh, sorry, everybody. They had to cancel the show. I didn't even have it. It was a false positive.
But they had to cancel other people's shows at that venue.
I mean, that part of it sucked, man. I mean, it's just like so much stuff like that where you're just like, oh my God, like just one little thing. Everyone is not, everyone's home that night. No one is working. It's just like, so that part of it was tough. So you felt like you couldn't get back fully because of so much stuff like that. It made it harder to say yes to everything because you had to consider that, but,
I think now we both feel fine. I mean, we're both vaccinated, and so I feel totally safe and fine. And we're being careful on, when we come back home and testing when we can, how we can before we are back around people and doing that thing,
Yeah, it almost feels like it's over. I mean, I don't want to say that and jinx it. And obviously there's, variants and all that kind of stuff in the news. I don't know if they are reporting, the truth all the time. I don't want to get into like conspiracies and shit like that, but like it's just, I feel like they're always kind of like just keeping it over our shoulder. Like, hey, we're still here. Like it's still here. Like, and it feels pretty good out there. I mean, I was just in Atlantic City the last weekend before that, I was in Boston. And I mean, I have a young son. He's 4 years old. So I wasn't like, I did my best to kind of stay away from big crowds, but like there were still people moving and young kids saying the hell with it, dancing, having a good time and hugging and kissing and all that kind of shit. But yeah, what a time to be alive.
I know, it's crazy. I have a daughter, she's 2. So I also was kind of staying away from people, but and I've definitely seen a difference in attendance with every musical project I've been involved in. I mean, like I know for Jeff and I, we started playing in New York again, and you can definitely feel that some people still aren't comfortable, for whatever reason, so that kind of is just, but New York is starting to come, back to life, and people are, the music scene is back bustling again, which is great, man. It's really great.
I was so worried that New York would, I mean, I knew that eventually they would rebound, but I didn't think it was going to be as quickly as it kind of has been, just because, I mean, I thought this was going to it was great. Granted, it was awful for the past 2 years, right? But I just thought like people were going to get set in their ways and form new habits and get used to the live streams on the internet and, stay inside and have your groceries delivered to your houses or apartments. And I didn't think people were going to be, as eager to get back out as they have been, which is great. I mean, we can't be controlled. I mean, we're only here on this earth for so long. We can't spend it being afraid and living in our homes by ourselves. So it's like, I'm happy.
I know eventually, you got to get back out eventually. No, it's seriously. Yeah, no, it's tricky, and yeah.
But yeah, and you have to be like cognizant of the fact that, like there's so many people who are like, if you're not wearing a mask, you're a piece of shit, or like, and there's people who, if they see you wearing a mask, then you're a coward and you're sheep and you're, all this. And it's just a wild time to be alive in that, like, you just never know who you're going to offend, and you're just trying to do the best you can to keep yourself safe, your family safe, your friends safe. And it's just wild. I never thought we'd experience this.
I just think it shows a lot about human beings, man. I think everyone just needs to calm down and respect each other.
I mean, I'm sure you've heard of the Oscars and what happened there. I mean, according to Will Smith, someone says something bad, you just go up there and smack him in the mouth, right?
Yeah. I don't know.
I thought initially it was fake. I thought for sure this can't be real. This is I thought maybe one of them has a new movie coming out, and then I realized that Chris Rock had a new comedy tour. He's just started like yesterday, the day before. I'm like, this cannot be real. But now there's apologies, and now there's police involved, and all this other kind of stuff. So I guess it was real. I don't know.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know.
Seemed real to me, but I don't know those guys. So
yeah.
I think the biggest issue I had with that, the saddest part about that, obviously we lost Taylor Hawkins a couple of nights prior to that, and I feel like that moment like the moment at the Oscars overshadowed the loss of such a great musician. And I'm sure Josh, as a drummer, you can probably appreciate, the value he had.
I can't even imagine. I mean, we have a lot of friends who are close with him, and I mean, what's there to say? I don't know.
Yeah, I never had
you're here, and the next minute you're not.
Yeah, I mean, the Foo Fighters for me is a top 5 favorite band of mine. I had the pleasure of seeing them only once, and obviously I never met Taylor. I never met him, or I don't know him. But he just had that, like, he's always smiling. It felt like you did know him just because he's always smiling and hanging out, and him and Dave Grohl seemed like brothers and things like that. It's just such a, I don't know, it's sad.
It's so sad. Yeah. That whole band seems like a class act, I mean, really, that, I don't know. Yeah. It's really hard to lose people.
Yeah. Do you think that the Foo Fighters go on as the Foo Fighters?
I think that they will. I mean, but I think that it's, I mean, it just made me emotional that they canceled the rest of it. You know what I mean? Because, like, I mean, what do I know? I mean, I'm not playing stadiums and I'm not in a famous rock band, but the Who didn't they like play the next night when John Entwistle OD'd or something? Like, Pete Townsend was just like, I'm gonna get someone else to fill it. You know what I mean? It was just like, I mean, there's so many different schools to it. I mean, or like take Led Zeppelin, they never played again. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or I guess they did, but you know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
They were like, that's it. It's over.
Yeah.
So there's so many different ways. And I don't know if the Foo Fighters seem as, I don't know. I don't know any of them, who knows?
I don't know. I hope
but I don't think, I mean, yeah, it seems, I guess we'll see.
Yeah. I'd be surprised if they continue on as the Foo Fighters. I really.
Okay.
I mean, who do I? What do I know?
Taylor on like all the original stuff? I mean,
I think they had like a drummer in the very beginning that I think Dave Grohl actually fired, and that he actually went in the studio, recorded all the drums himself, and kind of pretended like that guy didn't exist. I forget his name, but Taylor's been around for like 98% of the life of Foo Fighters, I believe.
Wow.
Don't quote me.
Maybe they won't then. I don't know.
Just the camaraderie that, like, Dave and Taylor had, and his last performance when Dave went on the drums and Taylor came out and sang a Queen song, I believe it was. Taylor said, if it wasn't for Dave Grohl, I'd be delivering pizzas. So, like, there's like I think there's a very special bond, between those two guys, especially. And yeah, and you have Dave Grohl. First he loses his lead singer, and now he loses his drummer.
Yeah, I did think about that. I mean,
but
it's crazy.
It is crazy. But I mean, you mentioned some bands in that conversation. What are some inspirations that you guys kind of have and that you kind of, carry on with you and, kind of using your music?
Well, we both grew up, and continue to be fans of jazz music, classic rock, electronic music. Josh has a big background in funk. We like avant-garde music, kind of a little everything. I mean, if you're a musician and you're not, I don't know, you're closed off to any kind of music, I don't really know what you're doing, whether you like everything or not, So we listen to anything that someone tells us to check out, basically,
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's never ending now, man. I mean, I make playlists. I don't even listen to them because I've got so many, it's like,
it's so hard. It's so hard.
No, and it's a good problem to have, but like, I'm overwhelmed and, and I love it. Like I'm finding out with the internet, it's like I find out about bands from like other decades that, like, I thought I actually knew something. And then it'd be like, who the fuck is this band? I mean, they're amazing.
Yeah.
And then you find out that they had like 5 albums, it's just, it's crazy. Yeah, it's just,
that's always fun. I always like finding new bands And then, like you said, they had like 5 albums prior to that, and you kind of just like get lost, for a week in those. They happened to me with the Gaslight Anthem, which I'm happy to hear that they're back.
Yeah. That's cool.
I found them in 2013, I think, and they had like 5 albums in the back catalog. That was fun. But like, there's just so much music, and like, I have to pick and choose. Like, when Ben tells me to listen to something, Ben Travers, I'll listen because I respect his taste and his, what he's got going on. So I'm glad he was able to mention you guys, and I love your stuff too.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like we kind of come from all the places, all of the different things that Jeff just mentioned. We're kind of like a culmination of all those things. Like there's enough rock in what we do. So people who like rock, they'll be like, yeah, this band is rocking. You know what I mean? Like we definitely rock, but we're not like a rock band,
Right.
And then there's the funk element, and it makes you want to move a little. And yeah, there's a lot to it. It's also amazing because there's so much music, and I feel like, every 10 years bands continue to, mix styles. After a while, so many things get thrown together that, you start to lose, hopefully, some of like the more cliched genres. You know what I mean? You start to like mix some cool shit together.
Now, when you guys started in 2012, streaming wasn't as popular as it is today. What are your thoughts on like streaming and things like that? Because like I come from an era where, I bought CDs, and up until like 2 years ago, I was still buying CDs to the point where I was spending $200 a month on music. And I'm like, I can spend $200 a month on music, or I can spend $10 a month and have Spotify and have access to everything. Which I love and hate. I mean, I love being able to buy a CD or buy a record or whatever it might be for an artist, but it's just not financially, the smart thing to do, I guess you could say. So in a streaming world, I mean, what is it like for you guys to, do you use it to your advantage, obviously, or how does that work for you?
I think for the listener, it's great. And for the artist, it's absolutely terrible. It just is. There's not much of a debate there.
Yeah, I agree.
It doesn't. You can have a massively successful song or album streaming and make nothing. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. I don't pretend to have any solution to that. I know there's a lot of people working on it. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Obviously, it's amazing to have everything available to you as a listener. That's something new. And like, there's a lot of great to that. You can learn so much. You can digest so much. You're not invested in it in a certain way that we used to be when and not to sound like an old fuddy-duddy, but, when you had to go to the store and pick out, look at the available CDs and pick out the one, because you could only afford that one. And you had to leave 4 or 5 of them behind. You're going to go home with that one, and you're going to treat that and digest that differently than you are, whatever song is just coming up next on the playlist that's fed to you.
100%. I remember being can't talk tonight. I remember being a 10, 11 years old when the Counting Crows album came out, August and everything after, and sitting down with the cassette at my grandparents' like table in their house, and just opening the insert and just reading the lyrics and listening to the tape. And I always really appreciated that, like the art involved with the CDs and all that kind of stuff. And I think we lost a lot of that, unfortunately.
Seriously. Like most bands, we just try to do the vinyl thing and try to get, which is also super expensive to make, but it makes you feel good to have that at your merch table, to just be able to offer that, to be able to be like, we also have this experience like what you're talking about, where you can have this album that is beautiful and we put all this time into it and we've got lyrics and we've got artwork, you know. So that's what we try to, you know, definitely. But yeah, you might be getting one.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I can't get into vinyl. And I think it's for a couple of reasons. Like, I will buy the vinyl that, like, you know, my close friends put out and things like that just to support. But oftentimes, there it is. Paris Monster vinyl. I'm sure that'll be available at the show on Friday, April 8th.
Hell yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
But I just can't, like, I have my CD collection. For the longest time, I go out, buy CDs, I come home, put it on the computer, transfer to my iPod, and I would take it that way because I wasn't going to have one of those, you know, big CD holders that we had in the late 90s in my car because it would just be a mess. So I like my CD collection is like clean. It's like almost untouched to a degree. And like vinyl, I just can't really get into, and it's bigger. I don't really have a place to put it in my house with all the CDs and shit like that. So, but it's cool to have, like you're saying, because that's what the kids want.
Oh yeah, that's where I'm at, man. I would spend $200 a month on records. You know, because you put it on and it's like this timeless thing. And I started doing that again, you know, listening to the whole record. Or having it on while you're doing stuff around the house is cool too. But the records have, just like what you're talking about, you know, the inserts and the lyrics and the studio photos and shit like that.
Well, I think they were also written so that you would listen to it from start to end. And now with the way, you know, you add these playlists and the algorithms just kind of go from song to song. It's just like, or you have this, like, you're listening to a song, you're, you know, half a minute in or whatever it might be, and you're like, oh, I want to listen to something else, and you do because it's there. It's accessible. Like,
yeah, and I think also like another part of it is like I think bands and artists spend so much time, well, hopefully, but you know, working on the music and getting it just right and whatever to be the statement they want it to be. That, you know, if all you could afford was one LP a month instead of 1 month of streaming service, I think you'd get just as much out of that one recording if that's all you had to listen to. Trusting that those bands, those artists are putting that much into it that you listen to it over and over again, you're going to have a new experience every time. You're going to find new stuff. You'll probably find more doing that than just like skimming through 1,000 songs a month for the same price.
That's how it used to be.
You know,
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I say it all the time on this show. You know? Yeah, I say all the time on this show. Like, I spend more time looking for something to watch on Netflix than I actually watch.
Oh my god, every night.
I know.
Every single night.
It's so bad.
We give up and just watch Seinfeld because we can't figure out something to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You just, before I know it, it's like, I'm just still skimming and I'm like, I think I'm ready for bed.
Yeah, exactly.
And I miss going to the video store. You know, it was a nice date night. Grab a pizza, go to this video store, hope the movie you want to see is there.
And like, meanwhile, I'll put on like Relaxin' with the Miles Davis Quintet now and find something that I've never heard in it before, and I've listened to it 1,000 times. You know,
yeah.
I don't know.
Life is wild, man.
Yeah, it is.
Internet's a blessing.
I mean, it's everything is so accessible now. It makes me wonder where it ends.
Yeah, I mean, think about how much things have changed, and it hasn't been that long. I feel like in the last 10 years, I mean, we've advanced like what used to take, 20 or 30. And obviously it comes with the invention of these cell phones that we have in our pockets and the ease of access we have to with those things. And what that came out in 06, 07, the iPhone?
I guess so.
Something like that. Like,
I was way behind. As you can,
I was one of the last people to get one.
I was a long holdout.
I got a BlackBerry for work in 2009.
Me too.
I held out. I think my first iPhone was 2011. But yeah, I mean, it's a different world. The internet's such a blessing and a curse. We have all this access to everything at our fingertips, which is great. But I think we lose a lot of the appreciation that we once had.
Yeah,
with everything.
Yeah, my Instagram feed, if you were to like hear audio of me like flipping, it's just like, because I'm not like I'm barely staying on anything.
Yeah.
And then it's like, and then I like see a friend, like I don't even fucking see what it was. You know what I mean? It's like, so sometimes I will actually be like, okay, I liked it. I'm going to watch this whole thing, you know?
Yeah.
You can't get too crazy about it on either way, whether people are paying attention or not. And if someone liked something we did, I don't want to stop and think that like, oh, they think we're the greatest thing ever. They may have just been like, I like that guy, you know, and I'm going to like it. It's like, it doesn't matter. You know, it's crazy that who would have thought that the record companies would give a shit how many followers you have? That's what they care about. Think about it.
Yeah. Now. Yep.
And it's tons of people doing exactly what I just said. It's just like, it's like ass backwards, but whatever. I guess we just got to go with it.
Yeah, we really do. But as far as Paris Monster goes, where did that name come from?
It's an old
political cartoon.
Yeah, from 1798.
That's it.
Very random, and that was what we called the project, and it's still called that.
Yeah. And for those watching or listening to this who have never heard of Paris Monster, have never seen you guys play live, can you explain? Can you share with them what they could expect when listening or seeing you guys play? This is your elevator pitch. Right? So any PA is listening to this podcast. All 5 listeners that I have, right? They're listening to this podcast right now. They're gonna say, "Hey, like maybe we should go see those guys play at the Jazz Cafe on April 8th." What can they expect?
I would say crushing grooves, funk, psychedelic soundscapes, soulful vocals, lots of energy, some darkness and some light,
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeff, anything to add?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of the words he picked demonstrate like a balance, between like light and dark, heavy and ethereal. I don't know if those are opposites, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
Heavy and atmospheric. Danceable, but we're lyric based, so there's 2 different poles there. I mean, something for everyone.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a great venue for who you guys are and what you guys do. Obviously,
I feel like I may have played there when it was called something else. Was it called something else years ago?
It's been the Jazz Cafe since as long as I can remember.
Okay.
Okay. So maybe it was called that because I played there too, Jeff.
You have? Okay.
Oh, so you've both been there before, probably. Maybe.
I mean, we're talking like 15 years ago or something.
Okay.
The last time I played there, if it was the same place, was at least that. So I guess we'll find out when we're there.
Yeah.
When you're walking the door, you're like,
this project has not played there for sure.
Right.
Yeah. It'll be our first time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that room for what you guys do, like I said, is good.
Cool.
That's a very funk-esque and jam band type scene. So it's a good spot.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Yeah. We like a big sound system. We like a big room and a big sound system.
They have that. Are tickets, I guess, available for sale now? Or
they're still available for sale. Yeah, we got another week to go, and yeah,
sweet.
It's gonna be great, man.
Yeah, as long as Ben's like, "Hey, man, let me know if you want to come to the show." And I'm like, "Hell yeah, I definitely want to." And then my wife said, "Hey, my girlfriends and I are going out for dinner." I said, "When?" She said, "April 8th." And I said, "Damn it."
Well, do they have food there?
They do not.
Never mind.
Yes, there is McDonald's across the street.
They could have dinner there.
Right. Well, the issue lies in my 4-year-old having to be under supervision and
gotcha.
put to bed.
Yeah.
So what I'm hoping happens is that they're going for dinner, right? She's pregnant. We're expecting our 2nd child. So
amazing.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's been a long road trying to get there. But so I'm hoping like they're gonna have dinner, and they're all they have kids themselves, so I don't expect it to be a late night for her. So I'm hoping they have dinner, they all call it a night early, and then I can kind of sneak out and attend the show. That's the plan.
Mm-hmm.
That's the plan right now. So where can people find you on the social media?
ParisMonster.com. And we're at Instagram, Facebook. We're really active on those.
We're at the Paris Monster on all. That's our handle on Twitter. What are they again? Instagram, Facebook, all stuff.
Yeah.
Are you guys big Twitter guys?
Not these days.
No.
There's an account up there.
I can't. Twitter for me is just too much. It's too
much, man. I can't either. It's like every time someone has an opinion, they just tweet it. It's like, think about how many. I mean, I think I probably follow more people than I should anyway, but it's crazy.
Yeah, I never got into it. It moves too fast for me. I guess I'm showing my age to an extent. Big Facebook guy right here. So, showing my age. I like Instagram too, but yeah. But
cool.
Well, guys, thanks for doing this. I don't want to keep it too long. It is Thursday night. I'm sure you have better things to do, whether that be, sleeping or doing anything other than talking to me. But I wanted to thank you for your time. I appreciate it. It's always nice to, this podcast kind of really focuses a lot around the local scene in NEPA. But I always really enjoy talking to people who are a little higher level and outside of our area and just being exposed to different people and different music. So thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
And hopefully I'll see you guys on Friday.
Yeah, we've got the Brendan Brisk Band is at 8 p.m.
Yes.
And then I think we'll probably go on at 9:30 or something like that.
Yeah, Brendan is great. I meant to bring that up. So thank you for mentioning that. I actually have it in my notes here. Actually. So he's opening up for you guys. Great local musician here. Is that something that Ben also put together, or are you?
Ben put together.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's great. Brendan's awesome.
Sounds great. We listened to some of his newest albums, so we're excited about that.
Yeah, was it Relaxylvania?
Yep.
Cool. And what about you guys? I know the last album, I think, if I hope I'm correct, but you put out in 2019. Is there new stuff on the horizon for you guys?
It is on the horizon. It's in the works.
All right. Well, expect new music from you guys in the not so distant future, maybe?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Sweet. But Paris Monster, April 8th, River Street Jazz Cafe in Plains, Pennsylvania. Hope to see you guys there. And again, thank you so much for taking the time. And take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
You too.
Thanks. See you.
Bye.
Later.